Hello, everyone. Let's dive into the creative mind of Nari, whose creativity transcends traditional boundaries. His story is one of passion, creativity, and the pursuit of excellence. Nari, thank you very much.
That's very kind of you.
First of all, Nari, it's been a curiosity. What is the story behind Narendra Kumar Ahmed?
It's the inspiration of my life.
Okay.
My father is a Muslim. And my mother is a South Indian Brahmin. And the very fact that they ran away, got married in that year, that many decades ago, to me, there is no greater source of inspiration to my life. I tell my mom, today my father is not around, but I tell my mom that nothing that I will ever do in my life will match up to the courage she had to live life and make choices then as a woman in that time, being the head of almost 13 siblings, eldest among 13 siblings, to stand up for what she believed in and make that choice, really, is unbelievable. Great source of inspiration for me.
So you've been a prominent figure in fashion since 2000, if I'm right? Year 2000 or much earlier?
Thank goodness you're aging me a little better. Cut out one whole decade of my life.
Oh, so it's 1990s. Okay. All right. 1990s, yeah. I stand corrected. Known for your immaculate fits and your contemporary designs. Can you take me through the journey of what led you to establish your label and your brand?
I think the interesting part is really what did I do prior to that?
Okay.
I failed in my 12th standard. I got through my BSc in chemistry with 43% marks after copying. My first job was selling Xerox photocopies at Norman Point at 30 paisa a copy or something that we used to 50 paisa, 15 paisa a copy or something. Office to office for 6 months. I did that then... You
did all this for what? Why?
After my graduation, there was no other job that I would get at BSc with 43%.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, what job? Come on, seriously. But I did get that, and I did that. And then my parents really felt bad for me. They helped me get another job. And my next job was, I was selling glass bottles, the milk bottles, to Bolly Dairy and RA Dairy and all that. So
I didn't know about all
glass bottles I used to sell. I sold that for about 6.5 years.
Okay.
I became a assistant marketing manager out there. I used to travel in a public limited company, so it was quite good. I was good, reasonable. And then, I always had an interest in fashion. So, from school and college days, I used to alter my jeans, flare, fit, along with the style at that point, using my mother's hand sewing machine kind of stuff. So that interest was there, but there were no schools for boys to study fashion then. And so I had to do what was there available at that point. And then one day I saw a little ad that said NIFT was opening. But they either wanted students who were first class, disqualified.
And out of science, 43%.
No, disqualified straight away. But they asked for 1 year's experience also, either that or 1 year's experience in industry. So the day I saw the ad in the newspaper, I quit my job. My friends told me, you're an idiot. My parents never spoke to me for 3 months. They said, you're almost to be a marketing manager, earning that time 20,000 rupees a month.
That's a lot at that.
That was a lot in a month. Why would you do such a stupid thing, quit your job, and then take up a job that gave you 400 rupees a month? So that was my first job in the fashion business, was matching dupattas to salwar kameez and packing it. So
where was
400? And it was right across Sunmill compound.
Okay, right here.
Yeah, Sunmill compound, 96, I think. 90. No, it was not 90. 87, 88, I think it was.
Okay.
86, 87, I think. And then comes the day of the interview for NIFT. I go there and I see all of these people, students from Sophia and Nirmala, Niketan and Polytech and
all with their portfolios
and all of that kind of stuff. They come with a thick portfolio. I woke up in the morning. I managed to do 4.5 sketches, but I took one dress. And I took one dress which was a yellow colored, cadmium yellow colored dress, halter neck dress, dress with tiered skirt attached, yellow, inspired by Cyndi Lauper.
Wow. Girls just want to have fun.
Girls just want to have fun. Okay, I know it might go the wrong way, but yeah, so I did that. I went there. I thought I was not going to get it. I was almost one of the last people to be interviewed. And then there was all this faculty from FIT in New York, and because NIFT had started in association with FIT. And they said to me, one of the questions, one of them said to me, are you not too a little old to do this course? But I said to them, and because the others were all 18 and 19, so I said to them, I've quit this job that I was earning this much money, and regardless of the fact you give me admission or not, I am going to be a designer. There's no two ways about it. But lo and behold, I did get admission, and that was where really...
I think your candidness...
Yeah, I mean, it was. And I think that really, that was the day I could bring my voice to a platform.
Wow.
When I got this little green-colored postcard inland letter saying that I was admitted to NIFT.
Into the NIFT.
And since that day, I've never looked back.
So, being one of the first graduates of the second batch of NIFT, where do you see the Indian fashion education landscape? Education landscape.
Education landscape, I mean, more and more people are interested in fashion, but that was a big gap. That was sequential learning. You finished your school, you got a job, you designed for a company, you designed for yourself, you worked for retail, you did something. Today, the sequence is all disrupted completely with AI.
Yeah.
Anybody can be a designer, right? So, as long as you know how to tell a story, anybody could be a designer. So it has gone completely. I mean, I don't know if talking about what evolution has been over the last 25 to 30 years is relevant today, because all of this is completely irrelevant with DeepSeek and AI and all of that. It's completely this system. But I also believe that you might do all of these and AI and all that, but I think you need to have a core understanding of some
basics.
You need to be a champion of one, master of one subject in some way, and then a jack of all, because you need all of them to tell a story today.
Interesting. So I think you need your foundation very strong.
You need your foundation.
Then you can...
And you should be good at one subject, one part, because, I mean, my career, everything that I have done in the industry today was done because I just did design. From there, India's first fashion editor, starting Fashion Week in India. I mean...
You have a lot of first to your career.
Yeah, lots of things happening around there. So you need that kind of stuff. Education has evolved, but nobody knows what the next 5 years is going to look like. Nobody knows I mean, if I say I know what it is, I would be wrong. I could have told you that 10 years ago, and I would have given you exactly what it meant and how people want to go abroad and study and how you should build your career going up. Today, you can't tell.
I think a lot of them are also very clueless on the whole fashion thing. They want to go to these high-flying universities and still not clear about what direction that they want to take in fashion.
And I tell that, and I speak when I speak at convocations for NIFT and all that. I tell people I did a 2-year course, and I have not received my diploma as yet.
I don't think NIFT will like it.
So I've not received my diploma as yet, but nobody has ever asked me for my certificate, ever in my career. In 30 years in the business, no one has ever asked me for my diploma.
So I think basics is the aptitude and the knowledge, which is very, very curious.
Hunger to learn. Because, today, and I'll give you an example, my nephew, I gave him a book on filmmaking at the age of 16. At 28, and he recently got married, he's had 3 films at festivals. He does stuff for Amazon, Netflix, music videos. We had, our film was India's first fashion film.
In the Berlin Festival.
At the Berlin Festival. All of this without ever having gone to film school.
So it's a hunger. I think that's
and he taught himself everything on the internet. So much, so inspiring that I created a brand after his thought, after that thought, inspired by him. So, yeah. So that's what it is, curiosity. And a lot of it comes from the environment that you build in. Sometimes you fight the environment and you still make it. But, today people are knowledgeable and how you direct your child to open up so much more. You know so much more about psychology, neurology, understanding of human body. So there are ways to mark up stuff that you couldn't do in the past.
So I think that tutoring and that education is important. I think more mentoring.
It is more mentoring, and I remember, like my nephew, I never treated him as a nephew.
You're a very interesting guy. I've met him. Very, very interesting.
He was always my friend from the day he was born. So he was always my friend and I taught him that. So I think that environment is changing. More and more people are seeing that.
So what do you see the current, you're just sharing with me, you just met the current pass outs of NIFT. Yeah. What did you think of them?
All of them have achieved great status in life. They have led all the big brands like Louis Philippe, US Polo. I mean, you name India's brand, Tata, Reliance, Myntra, Amazon, they're all doing really well for themselves, But the fun part was not very many of them knew exactly what all I had done in the industry. So it was a nice way to let my peers know of my journey in the fashion industry, which has been so diverse. And you were saying earlier, right, about being good at one part of the subject and using that to do everything else, because that gives you a foundation to try something else.
Yeah, because I think if you have that base right, then then it's like you said, hunger.
Yeah.
You want to do something more, you want to add value. Even I think when you're talking about the AI aspect, I think they say, there's always a big question and a myth that AI, is it a pro or a con?
Yeah.
So it's how you utilize AI, right?
So number one, I think, while I think that AI is good in some ways and it will, extend your life and it will get you some more breaths in, everybody has to die someday. It's not going to be endless, right? But what happens is, just like social media, we celebrate the negative side of life so much more than the positive side of life.
That's so true. That's so true.
So 90% of what you see on social media is negative, and therefore more people are influenced by the negative to create more negative stuff, because
Absolutely.
That's what people think sticks.
I so agree.
If you open your feed, I'm just seeing on your explore page on Instagram, I'm just seeing women hitting men hitting women, people throwing stuff. 70% of that page is
it's social, it's television, it's everything. That's what's influencing
somebody abusing someone. That's all it is. So that influence is a really important part on how things will be shaped up.
So you designed costumes for movies like Fashion and Aladdin. How did these collaborations happen, and what were the challenges you faced?
So it's interesting. I will take you a little behind all of that. I got out of fashion school and I said, I have no money. My parents have no money. How am I going to be the best in the world? Right? So I tried to strategize myself. I knew that the market was moving in a certain direction. I realized that, that you had to have some connection with Bollywood to be known in some way in this
Recognized,
country.
Yeah.
Recognized in this country. But it was not something that I lived for. I'm not really crazy about it. I used it as another place to express my creativity more than anything else. And I did something really strategic then. While everybody, all the big fashion house people, fashion houses and all that, focused on women, like Aishwarya Rai and all the actors who were becoming the kind of stuff, I realized the biggest stars were men.
And they were left behind.
They were nobody really looking at menswear fashion for these people.
True.
Yeah. So that was one strategic move. And my reason to get into the film industry was only to earn respect of the actors. I mean, great actors like Amitabh Bachchan, Shah Rukh, Akshay, John, you name them, everybody, Mahendra Singh Dhoni, not actors, but Yuvraj Singh.
They're all celebrities who have,
all of them who have achieved some success. But I wanted there to be there just like I respect their work. I wanted them to respect my work. Basically, that's all. It was mutual. And even today, if any of these people see me in a crowd, they will come and say hello to me. To me, that is great. I never take pictures of them. I don't post pictures of them. I don't really care about that. I just care that they respect me for what I do. That's it.
So
Coming back to fashion, you were talking about fashion. So as it happened, we started doing stuff, and then people started recognizing, and what happened, people realized that the shows that we were doing were also part of my strategy of positioning the brand as an intellectual thinking person's brand. Not just inspired by the Taj Mahal and the beauty, but inspired by what was happening around us in society, how we were changing as people. I also, when I did my shows, I said, one, I have no money. How do I indulge the mind and create an impression? So for me, every show started with a story.
Okay, so you created the whole narrative.
The whole narrative, whole narrative around the show. And, the first one was so impactful. Really, Lakme and FDCI had split, and there was a big problem between them. FDCI said, you can't show here, and I can't show there. So I did a little stunt, not a stunt, but a show that was really different from what people had seen, because most people, models are used to just walking the ramp
and all,
kind of stuff, right? But I wanted to make a statement with this against this whole process, right? So I allowed the models to practice. The print that I designed was all inspired by the 60s, 67, 65 peace movement,
Okay.
hippie movement.
It's like a revolt.
Yeah, but it's subtle in a way that if you knew, you knew. If you didn't, it's okay, kind of stuff. And then I had practice with the models to walk the ramp, come up front and all that, with the music and all that. And just before the show started, I told the girls and boys that there is going to be no music in the show.
Wow. So they had to...
So they started protesting, and I said, but you're supposed to be model. You're supposed to be walking and wearing, not dancing on the ramp.
Okay, interesting.
And I said that, and then what I did was, I gave all the models a gag on their face. It is a sign of protest, inspired by Gandhi. How you protest silently. And I started the show with the church bell, and you know why church bell happened, so that it brings people into meditative state, right?
Yeah.
And then there was silence after that. Exactly how the show happened.
Total focus and concentration.
Yeah. People were panicking. People were uncomfortable, didn't know what to do, who to talk to. Did they think the sound system had failed? They didn't know what to tell the person next door. Should they make a... But this is the discomfort I wanted them to feel, the audience. And the show ended with the same church bells again, and you come out of meditation kind of stuff. Next day, Bombay Times carried a little front page.
I remember.
Photograph and the title said, Delhi, take that. So, all my shows, exactly the 50.
I know, I've been through mostly all your shows, and they're very disruptive.
They're storytelling more than...
Yeah, but I think that's what also gives in your... a little bit of a change in terms of the way, because people are so used to the same walks and same stuff.
Yeah.
So I've seen your stuff. It's fun. You allow the models to play around with what...
No, I personally, I believe clothes mean nothing without a story.
I totally agree.
When you put on something, you put it on because you know how you feel about it.
That's true.
And you know what impact you'll make on somebody else, you know? And it's so true, because the first 5 seconds of anybody seeing you really defines who you are in their mind.
Yeah, it builds your personality.
Built
Totally.
further. Malcolm Gladwell, Blink.
Totally.
So, yeah, so it does that. But I think one of the most impactful shows that I did was, was about my mother and my father. They're running away to Bombay, getting married in Hindu-Muslim at that time, kind of stuff, and doing that. And such an interesting story. I must narrate this to you, okay? My father came to know that my mother was being taken away to Bombay to be married, from Hyderabad to Bombay to be married. And they met at Theosophy School. So they're friends together, but big age gap between the two of them. And he came to know, and he ran to the station, gave her a book by Pearl Bach on Chinese matriarchy, I forget the name. And in that book, he wrote her a letter. Yeah. And her parents never knew that, but he wrote her a letter saying, "Dear Lakshmi ji, my life would be incomplete without you," and all of that. And then he said, "Love Rukun." My father's name was Rukunuddin, and "Love Rukun," and he finished that letter, And many years ago, about 15, 18 years ago, I was moving homes, and there was this photograph of my mom and my dad, and I was packing stuff. It fell down, and I was putting it together, and I found this letter.
Well, she never told you about that.
Nobody told me. My mom never told me.
Okay.
Never told me. And she had kept that letter for what? Almost 40 years behind the photograph.
Interesting.
Never told me about it. I found that letter and I said, oh my God, this is such a great story for a fashion show. Yeah. And I looked at their relationship, their courage, and I looked at relationships today, normally, which is about financial security and all of that kind of stuff. That is life today, about financial security, lastly. And I said I would do the show. And what I did was, because my father was an MA in literature from Aligarh, he loved poetry and all of that, I wanted to write a poem for him.
You made it into a poetic...
Yeah, and I couldn't write it till the night before the show. I went home at 3 o'clock, got back at 9 o'clock in the morning, wrote it in 20 minutes, had it printed on an inland letter with my father's letter, a photograph, all of that put together, and placed it on every chair with one red carnation. Dear Lakshmi, kind of stuff, I have the photograph, I'll show you of that. And somebody sent me the photograph. People still have the letter, and they say...
Connect is so beautiful. You understand the whole relativity is...
Yeah, and I said, because he loved literature, I would look at 200 years of English literature where the men described the women they loved. From D.H. Lawrence, Lady Chatterley's lover, Thomas Hardy, Pradeep Chandra.
The first story.
Pradeep Chandra, Shantaram, Carla, talking about Carla kind of stuff. So the whole show was like that. And the clothes, the paper had turned beige, the ink had turned teal, green, blue, and the pen had rusted.
Expression.
And the pen had rusted. So my whole collection was beige, teal, green, blue. And the last outfit that Nina Manuel wore was rust. But the real impact, there's great impact when all the models come back for the re-entry. And I played a song from my favorite film for that ever, Kagaz Ke Phool. And the story, the last shot in Kagaz Ke Phool, Waida Rahman, Guru Dutt, standing in the studio, their images meet, but they don't meet.
Yes.
And the song,
I've seen that movie.
And the song, Waqt ne kiya kya si sitam, hum rahe na hum, tum rahe na tum. Time has taken such a toll on us. So that was the show, and I'm telling you, there were women who were crying on the first row. Celebrities and A-listers were crying at a fashion show. So the idea of telling a story, really, I realized that I wanted to be a storyteller.
Wow. Storyteller. Yeah. So no description for him. Storyteller.
Storyteller, yeah. So that was long.
Oh, that's okay. That's lovely. I think that's I didn't know about this show. I don't know.
Yeah, so
The last one I know about the revolt because I was there. But
Yeah.
I didn't know about this.
so women crying at a show. I mean, who cries at a fashion show? But I realized the impact of being able to tell stories, basically. And once I realized that, I still did shows, but then I said only 300 people see my shows. And if 300 people see, how do I get it to more? So I use my trump card, my nephew, to make the films for me. And that's how we made all these films. I mean, stories are mine. He works on it. We work together to do the film. So, yeah, storytelling is a really, really important part.
Okay, going back to fashion, I think it was quite an iconic movie itself for Mother.
Absolutely, yeah.
It brought out interesting facts. It had its mixed controversies.
Yeah, but it created stars like Priyanka, Kangna, just launched them into a global scene, kind of,
It was Priyanka and Kangna, I think, run off.
It was the defining film of that on fashion.
First of its kind.
First of its kind, yeah.
So how did you feel being chosen for something like this and being able to be a part of it? You felt, being as you say, a fashion...
So, see, the thing is, I would give credit to Madhur Bhandarkar for he could have used, there were other designers who were big in the space.
You get it.
And Rita, I don't know if you know Rita Dodi. Rita Dodi and me used to work together, and Madhur got in touch for both of us and Rita to do work around it. Rita said, Nari, we should collaborate and come together and build this kind of stuff. That's how it came about. And I told Madhur, this is the only way I will do it is if you allow me to give me a scene. I need to act in the film somewhere.
I remember.
So he gave me a shot with Karan in one of the fashion shows. But being part of a vision that Madhur had and being such a defining film on fashion, there's nothing been there before, after as strong.
Nothing on that space.
Nothing on that space. Right?
I think they tried a lot, but I don't think anything has come close to what that was. In that sector.
It was, So it was wonderful. Wonderful vision, Madhur, for Madhur, to be part of Madhur's team.
Any challenges that you faced out there?
No, I mean, for me, the good part is, today's stylists, when they work with films, with film stars, they take like 10 options and the film star decides what to wear. I told the stars, whether it is Amitabh, whether it is Shah Rukh, whether it is Akshay, whether it is anybody, this is a scene, this is what you need to look like, here's your choice, I'm giving you 2 choices, you can wear this or you can wear that. I've designed this according to the story, your character, the scene in which you are, and the impact that it will make on that. Based on that, that's it. So there was no real impediments. It was just a joy doing it.
Never thought of moving into a space where you did a lot of course, you did other movies, but focus only on the movies aspect because it's a large business.
It's a large business, but, given my level of intellect, spending time out there whole days and days for 1 shot and 2 shots and telling people, oh, you look so great, was not really the kind of space that I wanted to. There was more that I wanted to do than just doing that. All respect to all of them that I worked with. They have been wonderful to me and respectful. Most important, they have been respectful to me. And that was a great time to do it, but I needed to do more.
Enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it. I needed to do more.
So, okay, you've mentioned in your, some content that athleisure is defining the fashion of the future.
Yeah.
So, could you elaborate on this trend?
So, this trend started in early 2000 when the environment became an important thing. People started talking about the environment. All of those products started coming into the market. But what was also happening was health was becoming an important aspect of men were getting more and more, men and women were getting more and more aware of health. Consciousness was becoming much more the kind of food that people ate, started doing exercising, going to the gym. After doing all that, they need clothes that spoke to that new body type that they were creating. That's why the tailoring part, that's why the smart fit, all of that kind of stuff. That's how tailoring came into the business, Because women also who went to the gym wanted to be, and men especially, You want to understand what kind of body you are. Do you have an Italian fit? Do you have an English fit? Do you have an American sportswear fit? What's the kind of fits that you would do? Those are different things. So athleisure became, as more and more sports became mainstream activities, athleisure started defining that. How do you move easily from sport to work?
Okay.
So athleisure became that. But what has really happened, where it has really taken off, is it just took off before COVID, but COVID really created that need for comfort. And comfort is what has stuck in most people's mind. That's why athleisure is something that will always be there and be part of your wardrobe. It will. It'll become a part of your wardrobe because people, and you see younger people, more and more want comfort, don't want restrictive stuff. They will wear restrictive stuff for some time for appeal, but largely they want to hang out in an oversized t-shirt.
But you still want something which feels comfortable with.
Yeah, wherever you go, that looks cool when you travel, gives a youthful appearance. If you see anybody wearing athleisure, no. Also, what is more important is the image it casts. Anybody who wears that, regardless of age, is seen as youthful. Because that's the first message that goes across to people. If somebody is wearing a tracksuit, means that person is already on a different plane. He's progressive, looking forward, health conscious, all of that kind. You might be whatever size, but the thought that you would put on a tracksuit or a track jacket shows to the world that you are with it.
So it basically defines you.
It defines you. It places you.
Defines your personality, it defines how you are as a person, everything. I think they always say clothes do.
It is, because that is 90% of your appearance, right? That, because it's 90% of your appearance, it is the defining part. Your face is just like 1/10 of anything that anybody sees.
That's true.
Right? It's the clothes that tell the bigger story. From the colors you choose, the prints that you do, the style that you wear, everything defines who you are. And you might not know it yourself when you wear it, but this is what happens subconsciously in people's minds. When they see you and they see what you're wearing, it almost already places you in a space.
Specific space there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. With social content coming up, you have a host of Instagram influencers who claim they're fashion influencers. Your views on them?
Storytelling moves from outdoor to television, now to social media. People do what they do. I mean, there's nothing wrong with anybody doing what they do. Everybody does it because people realize that sometimes influencers bring a kind of authenticity that a film star doesn't bring, You see big film stars creating brands, but they don't live the brands.
No, they don't.
They don't have the style. But that's the most important part. If you are an influencer, how is it, other than just the pictures you post, you carry those ideas with you?
So it's again what kind of story you tell.
It's what kind of story you tell and what kind of life you live that also reflects your online with your offline life. There needs to be a connection. Otherwise, there's no authenticity. You can't be shouting and screaming and doing something on television which is like clickbait, and then trying to sell YSL or something like that. You can't do that, right?
That's true. But you know what? I've seen this. It's like categories of business and social. The way you have suddenly real estate is up. You have a host of real estate influencers.
Right.
They have fashion. You have. So how do you figure out? Of course, one of the ways is the kind of story they tell. So the credibility. Because see, a host of the number of people that we have in our country, it's a follow-on attitude. Okay, you look at
everybody is a follow-on. There are few leaders. It's a business, so naturally we also followed on from somebody else. So I don't look at that as that's natural. Yeah. So people go into space knowing what you want to do, picking up and doing a job, no problem. Whatever you choose, how authentically you do it, that's the most important part. Anybody can sell a house. Nothing wrong with it.
That's true.
But you have to build that trust that people will value what you say. You can't stop people from doing something, but you can at least reinforce your walls and your boundaries to understand and filter what you want to see.
Okay. All right. Name 3 designers you think who are doing path-breaking work currently.
I mean,
Preferably new ones, not you.
the younger people, Dhruv Kapoor. There was something that I just saw, House of Three in Bangalore, and then there was another one which I saw, which is I must mention, Multiply, Mehul, designer from NIFT, who is doing clothes for differently abled people. Fantastic people who are old age people who have urinary problem. How do you walk around? How cancer patients, how do you live with it? All of that somebody dedicated to that. To me, that is someone dedicating their life to do that.
Yourself to do something, it's beautiful.
In a world where you could...
Giving back, you have that capabilities and you're giving back.
No, and you're enjoying it. It's not being forced to do it. And when you had the choice of easily doing another streetwear line or another kind of line, to have chosen it, and definitely worth speaking about the boy. Hey man, brilliant work, great stuff. I will give you a link. Maybe you can have a look at it.
I'd love to read it.
Because it is for a lot of the elderly people. Mehul, only Mehul. Right. That I know. But I'll share some links too.
Okay, very, very interesting. So the fashion industry often faces criticism for promoting unrealistic beauty.
Right.
Okay. What's your take on this and how do you approach inclusivity in your design?
Why do you focus on only fashion saying unrealistic? You're selling houses are unrealistic. You're buying a car is unrealistic. You're telling there are so many things that you do. Just like every other business, fashion also creates a sense of aspiration. When you sell a building or a flat or a house or a car, you create a sense of aspiration for which you sell. Sure. Fashion also does that. But body types was an important thing then. But it has evolved today. Today, people are very inclusive.
Today it's much, much better than what it
was. Yeah, it's very much more inclusive. That was an era of zero kind of size. All of that. But today, things have moved on. People are more comfortable in their skin.
And you have designers.
Size does not matter. Yeah, size doesn't matter. All of that. It's a sense of evolution. There was a time that today I think you have a choice to look away from things that don't work for you because you have an option for other things that are. And that is exactly the reason why I launched my latest brand. Tamiska. Yeah. So that was exactly the reason to accommodate the idea that, 70% of Indian women wear ethnic clothing. This is my study at Amazon when I will live there. I could see it clearly. And 30% wear Western clothing. But we define fashion from a Western clothing perspective and not an ethnic clothing perspective, So there are a lot of women who are there or people now, because we are homogenized by social media, there is no difference between tier 1, tier 2, tier 3.
True.
And a lot of those tier 3 people whose kids have studied well and got a good education, now work in companies like Amazon in Bangalore, carry tales of what city life is back to their homes. Their parents want to be a little progressive. And I realized that's the space that to bring an idea of fashion to. That is what Tamiska does, help women transit slowly from ethnic to a soft Western where body fits are easy, detailing is easy, not too much skin showing, all of that kind of stuff. But with a sense of global trends.
Okay, design, fashion.
All of that, but for a different mentality.
Lovely. Yeah. I think I love the designs more than anything. The prints that are...
Prints are there, yeah. So that's also a different kind. So you see, things are changing. People realize stuff that you want to do. How fashion is defined is also changing right now in very many people's face, yeah.
You've also been a part of Amazon as a creative director.
Yeah.
Will you tell me a little bit about your journey and
that? It's really interesting, The first time Amazon called me for an interview, I said no. The second time they called me, I said no. The third time they called me, I said, my friends told me, this is Amazon, why don't you talk to them? You should at least talk to them kind of stuff. And I spoke to one of their businesses.
Why did you say no?
It was online. I did not know they were fly-by-night, what are their plans in the country.
Yeah,
this was 2013. Yeah. So I did not know what they were doing, global brand. Number one, I had never had a corporate job in my life. So all of that, and so coming back, I spoke to one of them. Then they said, why don't you speak to somebody else? I did not know this was an Amazon loop interview happening out there. So I spoke to somebody, the creative director in Japan. Then they said, your chat really went well. Why don't you speak to some more people? I spoke to the global expansion head in Seattle, which was Jeff's second in command. Then the head of business in the US, creative director US, creative director Europe, head of business Europe, Luxembourg. And finally, in India, Amit Agarwal interviewed me, and he said, Nari, you are a famous designer. You design for Hollywood, Bollywood, stars.
So you're the chosen one.
Why do you want to work with Amazon? I said, after like 12 rounds of interviews, which I don't think anybody in Amazon in India has had, okay, that level of interviews. I don't know very many people who have had that kind of level of interviews. And he said, why are you doing that? I said, and this was the creative director of fashion, My answer was, one of the reasons I think that I also met Jeff was, how many people get a chance to change the way 1.5 billion people live in the world? 1.5 billion people don't need cars, don't need phones, don't need laptops, don't need many things in life. But 1.5 billion people need clothes every day of their lives. So over the 11 years that I had been with them, I think more than 1.5 billion people have come and shopped out there over the time.
Understanding psyche, understanding people, I think that's part of the journey.
So for me, this is what it was. Like I said, when I told you earlier, for me, it was understanding how we are changing as a people. What are the things that affect, by capturing the zeitgeist, understanding the spirit of the time, and then seeing what are the things that are making those changes in life. And I could see that even when I got into the fashion career, I said, even if I was the worst student that got out of NIFT, I'd still be somewhere in 20 years' time. Because it was the premier fashion school in the country. So there is no way I would have been, somewhere in it.
And you designed for Jeff when he came to India too, right? That interesting experience which you shared with me, how you got it done.
Oh my God, really, when he came to India for the first time, his team said, Jeff is coming, he needs to wear something to sign that $5 billion check. I said, okay, send me a photograph of his, current photograph of it. They sent me a photograph. Jeff comes down and he's changing in his shorts, and I'm standing there, putting on the clothes, and he's telling me, wow, these things fit really well. I mean, my team must have sent you all the measurements. I said, no, I did this on the basis of a photograph. I am a tailor, first and foremost. So I can look and I can tell by, and that's the craft for me. The craft for me is being able to look at something and measure it without a tape.
Wow.
So I did that, and then he came back to India in 2019.
Yeah.
And
it was when he did that whole, travel on the car.
The travel on the car, lorry was the first trip.
Okay.
The second trip was he came to be
Jeff Bezos, like a picture, I think front page picture everywhere.
Yeah. So, and then the second time he came for a longer time to launch Prime Video and all of that kind of stuff, he told his team, I want Nari to come and meet me in California. So I met him in California, in his house, and amazing to see world's richest man, one security van outside with two people sitting in the door. And they asked me, what are you doing here? I said, I have a meeting with Jeff. He checks in. He said, go and ring the bell.
Wow.
And his girlfriend, Lauren, comes, opens the door, walk in, 5 minutes, Jeff comes in. They ask, can we make you some tea, coffee, or something of the kind? Yeah. Really, it was lovely and to me, that showed humility, humbleness, through everything, You could be being the richest man on earth at that time. I mean, to do that without any help.
Security, no.
Yeah. So that showed me the culture of Amazon top down. Yeah. And it was a strong message. And it was a real...
It's interesting.
It was an important part of defining for me what Amazon
And I think somewhere down you feel also that, oh, great, I'm glad I was a part of it.
Very much. And I mean,
Fabulous.
like all of the other things, it's been being the first fashion designer to be a creative head for a global brand like Amazon kind of stuff. So many firsts in the career, many of them.
11 years is a lot.
11 years is a lot. As a consultant, they normally have a consultant for 1 year or 2 years, but 11 years as a consultant, I think that's the longest standing consultant in Amazon history. Could be possibly.
Okay, there's an ongoing debate about culture appropriation.
Yeah.
Okay, in fashion. As an Indian designer with global recognition, how do you navigate the fine line?
As long as it is out in the world, it's there for anybody else to take. We don't have the rights to anything. I mean, you can use whatever to tell a story. You don't have to be seeped in your culture and live and die in your culture. You don't have to. You can appropriate your culture to build it for the future. You can appropriate other cultures to tell your story. This is cross-pollination really creates great ideas. What you do will...
Actually, it gives you the right mix, also sometimes an interesting mix.
I always believe that two contrasting ideas is when creativity is born. If you just pick up one thing and continue to look into the same thing, what happens is you just go do the same thing again and again and again. You need contrasting ideas to build creative stories, to tell stories for the future. That's when you get originality.
Sure.
When your mind is really forced to think at two diverse things and bringing them together in harmony. How many times you get to do that?
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's a very interesting way of putting it across.
Yeah. So cultural appropriation, I'm lucky that I was born here, but I'm part of this earth. I'm not just part of one culture. I am subjected to stories that come from across the world. I work with companies that work across the world. So why not? I mean, really, you're a global person. You're not just an Indian anymore.
Okay, this is something which is curious. In Bollywood, when you talk fashion and the portrayal of fashion, okay, taking aside how fashion was, honestly, they don't do justice to the fact.
They don't. I don't know. Some films do. I mean, you see the films of the...
You don't get that.
No, I'll tell you why. Most of them because I think contemporary actors for a lot of the modern Bollywood is all about looking good on social media.
Yeah.
Really looking good on social media. How good do I look? There are other actors like, Manoj Bajpayee, Naseeruddin, Irfan, Nawaz Siddiqui, and people like that who really went into character.
Came into the belt of it, yeah.
Character, But others they're short, they look at themselves and say, oh, mera body idhar dikhta hai, aisa dikhta hai, aisa dikhta hai. That's all they want to see. And how they look good on is what is the main. And that is the reason why the general quality is not that great.
That's what I thought. Because, it's... I always felt, you look at the foreign films and you look at that, it's such a natural.
So if you see anywhere, you see mainstream films, even Bollywood or Hollywood also, I mean, you have to fit into a character. You're not creating a character. But if you see the small films on the other side, where the stories are the strong part, there you are creating a character.
And your whole fashion style is part of, I think they create, when you've seen the Victorian ones or you see with the dramas, you feel that there's a sense of fashion that's created for the role.
Absolutely. How well does it resonate with the person and the character? How does it help building the character or tell the story of the character? That's everything from the button that you choose. All tells the story of the character.
Interesting. So for our male listeners, what are the 3 pieces of fashion you would recommend to them?
Fashion is...
With this style.
Fashion is evolving. I think the important part, number 1, I start floor up, shoes. Most people don't realize...
You look at the shoes first.
Most people don't realize what you can tell about a person by the shoe they wear.
I agree.
Yeah, because that, and I'll tell you why, the psychology behind that is when you put on a pair of shoes, that is the smallest little detail on your body. And if you take care of that small little detail, everything is up from there.
It's the pain you've taken to.
Yeah, so it shows the interest. It shows interest. So shoes, whatever they are, appropriate for whatever they are doing, makes an important. But for me, the shoes is really a big story that you do. I have almost about like 250 pairs of shoes. So 300 pairs of shoes. Oh, that is over. I've collected the same shoes over 25, 30 years. Okay, so it's not buying right now. But I love shoes, and because to me, I might wear torn clothes on top, but if I have a good pair of shoe,
Stand up.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. Great sense of confidence that comes out of it is fantastic. It's like, you wear something great and bad shoes, chops off at your knee. It looks like you've been chopped off at the knee. So it's an important part. Again, today the trend largely is athletic, even suits and jackets, they might be tailored, but they're much more softer in their tailoring, much more comfortable in what you would see, no lining, lightweight, kind of stuff. That is what is trending. And also, I mean, we are a land of color, but we can wear color in a way. You go to a party, 90% of the people out there are wearing black.
Yeah, totally.
90% of people wearing black. Yeah, it is. I think you should be a bit adventurous and try new things because it's not going to damage your personality as such. You're not, Zuckerberg or...
Is there, what I've noticed is you're absolutely right. There's
easy way out.
almost easy way out.
Yeah.
And also, you look slim. Black clothes, you look slim.
Yeah.
And I guess they don't understand.
But people have sorted that black makes you look slim out. If you see how women are wearing so many cord sets, why are they wearing cord sets? Because it's unicolor. It makes them look taller. Yeah. That's what unicolor does to your body, So it could be any color, as long as you are wearing a tone on tone, it makes you look the same way that black would make you look.
That's true. That I agree.
Yeah.
Totally. I'm glad people are realizing that.
More and more people are.
And I think a lot of them I've asked, they say that it's a lot of pain. You're right. It's a lot easier doing the black. But the color sense, not there.
Color sense.
The color coordination, the color sense. And I've seen a lot of...
No, a simple principle, easy principle, tone on tone.
Okay.
Just wear a tone on tone and you are okay. Even if you think of nothing, if you're wearing something in a different shade, you could just wear a tone on tone and get on with it. That's simple, it's sophisticated. The tone on tone story tells you that you are sophisticated and you understand what you're doing.
I think, you're right. I think, but I think how do you...
And for both men and women, I think the most important thing that I think when it comes to lifestyle and fashion is to indulge in random acts of kindness.
Define?
Random acts of kindness, For instance, sometimes I go out, I drive on the road, I see a really elderly woman or a man sitting on the road asking for money. Or a cat that is there that needs to be fed, or...
That connected.
It raises your oxytocin levels in your body. Okay. And in turn, it gives you greater sense of confidence in yourself. Okay. So random acts of kindness, I would recommend everybody tries it. And it could be anything. It could be not swatting a fly or a mosquito, That is also a random act of kindness here. And people should try it and see how they feel about it. Just the thought, it might be just personal, but it's a small thought that kicks off, to me, to the best of my knowledge, a sense of feeling of endorphins or stuff like that, oxytocin into your brain. That is a feeling of well-being. And that turns into confidence.
That's everybody. I think that's...
And that's a simple thing. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a PhD. I'm a third-class fail. Anyway, but these are things that I have learned personally. These random acts of kindness really elevate how you feel internally.
Yeah, personally. Yeah, it makes you feel good. I
think and once you
inside good, you're outside physically.
Absolutely, and I am, and I've always been, from the age of 16, an atheist. I don't believe in God in any sense, and no gods, even though they're Hindu and Muslim God. I've not been to a temple, mosque from the age of 16 till now, but I'm happy.
You just need to be a good person. I think in the end, that brings in all your values.
It does, as long as you treat the other person that you see with the same kind of empathy or respect that you would expect for yourself. And I know that you can't do it all the time. It's impossible. I don't do it all the time myself. But that's an overall thought process for me to manage how I...
Also, what a lot of men and women need to understand, wear clothes that you can carry yourself with. I think the big challenge is they look at, I think somewhere down that's a little bit of a deception. There's a lot of online shopping. Is they pick up stuff and suit them and then they return.
I think that I have a contrarian thought. I don't think everything should be perfect. I think that people
should carry yourself well. No, you need to be confident enough.
Confident, yeah. If you're confident, you can carry anything. So it doesn't. You could. I mean, at one time you thought, how could plus size people carry fashion at all? True. Look at them today. They're all wearing it with a great sense of confidence. Proportionality, all of that doesn't matter anymore. That's true. It is how confident, and that is the beauty, that women are more and more confident of themselves, and clothes don't define them. They define clothes. Okay. They're giving validation to clothes. So they're defining clothes. So, and you can choose to be whatever you want. Nothing wrong with any of that. More people try, there'll be a variety. Otherwise, we'll all be in uniform. Big brother watching you.
Taking the note on that, can you describe your creative process and what inspires you?
What inspires me? People inspire me. And inspiration can be random. It could be a book. It could be what I heard two people talk about, or heard somebody talking about.
But that's what inspires your creative process?
It does. It's a starting point. Okay. How people are changing, capturing the zeitgeist of the change. Basically, that's what we are. See, the craft is a fundamental of what we do, which is tailoring, building, all of that. That's the kind of stuff we do. But you layer it with stories. You need to place that craft in a context. And the inspiration comes from the context. The context is, how are you and me changing? How is society changing? What are the undercurrents that are shaping society? And as a designer, artist, it's your job to see the undercurrents and tell a story that, not everybody recognizes, but the three people who do, it makes sense to them.
Interesting. So how do you handle setbacks? You had any?
I will tell you how. I used to do yoga. Until the age of 30, 32, 35. And I could even today stand on my head without support. Wow. But at some point, I stopped doing it. Consciously stopped doing it, because what is the aim of yoga? Aim of yoga is to be in a homeostatic state. Okay. Where you don't get high, where you don't get low, and you live an even life. Okay. How boring is that? Absolutely. How boring is that?
It gives you mental stability, right?
But it's not a question of mental stability. What is life when you want to be stable like that? You might as well lie flat in the sea and just pump in some liquid into your body and live there. I want to feel the high. I want to feel the low. When I'm high, I design in a certain way. I create in a different way. And when I'm low, I create in a different way.
Okay, but you both actually use it to your
advantage. I use it to manage. Some of the stories that I've told when I was completely broke are the ones that have been the most effective stories that I have said, because there is inspiration in movement. There is movement on top or movement below. When you are depressed, there is movement, there's on top. So there's inspiration in movement, and that movement can come from anywhere.
Okay. So what are your personal experiences which you feel have influenced your design philosophy?
Number one is J. Krishnamurti. To me, define how I accept and how I see life. If I tell myself, if I can deal with the worst possible situation in any situation, the worst possible outcome, if I can deal with it, everything is up from there. Okay. So it starts from there. And I also tell myself, today I am lucky that I live in a place, but I could be that person on the road without a house. I could be that person could be me anyway. And what choice do I have in it? I have no choice, really. I can work towards keeping myself safe, but accepting it stoically is an important part of how I define every process or everything that happens in life. I mean, good things come, great. Bad things happen, you have no choice. You're not special. You might do all of this and you might take care of your health, you might do everything, and then walk out on the road and be hit by a car. Then what?
Yeah.
Right? So we don't have any choice. The choice is how we look at a situation and how we measure that situation from a point. For me, I tell myself in every situation which is not detrimental or bad, what is the bottom of this situation?
The worst case scenario.
Absolutely. And if I can deal with that, then automatically your mindset changes to deal with that situation itself.
True.
Yep.
True. What advice would you give to aspiring designers?
Be curious. Yeah, because the design in the future is not really about, no one craft, but design in the future is really about storytelling. Storytelling is about knowing something about everything. Yeah, you have to know something about everything to be able to be a complete storyteller. Because craft and all of that, of course, you should know it, but tomorrow you will just talk to AI, DeepSeek, or anything, and
so easy.
Everything is there. Everything is there. I use it a lot.
How do you make basically, how do you create your own identity with it? It's very important, right? So I think
that comes. How you create your own identity is what are the stories that you tell. Because everyone has a different path. Everyone has an opportunity to tell a different kind of story. Yeah.
That's true.
Don't copy somebody else's, because the better you are at your own story, the more stronger and more depth you will have in it.
True.
Add color to it in whatever way you want, but it needs to have a strong foundation.
Okay, in your career spanning, from the 90s, what has been some of your memorable experiences?
The most memorable experience in all my career, having done every one of these things, has been teaching. I love the fact that I could teach students. I love the fact that I could be friends with them. I love the fact that I could not influence. I don't want to use the word influence. I love the fact that I could give them a way of thinking.
So basically the connectivity.
Yeah, and a way of thinking. Not of doing, but thinking. How to think and how to approach stuff. To me, that is probably the best thing that I have done in my life. Of course, there are lots of other stuff, but many firsts in the play. India's first filmmaker to be best fashion film in Berlin. India's first.
Tell me a little bit about that. I think it's to be interesting.
It's a nice story. It was a story inspired by in 22-23. A story inspired by Big Brother watching you. If you're seeing George Orwell 1984 and the Brave New World, one is how institutions use distraction to divert your mind. Another book is about how they use coercion.
Sure.
And the film moves between the two states.
Okay.
And in that state, and the film is called 2 + 2 = 5.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a famous story from 1984, George Orwell. And that film, I said on a whim, we made the film and we sent it to Berlin, And lo and behold, when we saw the name out there, I said, what the? Really? But nice. Good feeling to be part of something. Good feeling to be part of the first of everything.
More different things, right?
Everything. If I was to tell you today, and I won't be wrong, in 1,500 million people, there wouldn't be one person who has had the width of experience in the fashion industry or aligned industries that I've had. From teaching, filmmaking, styling, campaign, photography, filmmaking, everything that was been done, at a good level, not just at a hobby level, but at a good level, it's been a fantastic journey.
So you've actually covered all the elements that whether it's teaching, whether it's working on, with a company, whether it's doing fashion in Bollywood. With,
Isn't that how life is?
yeah, it's diverse.
It's diverse because most people choose a life that is univision and just do the same thing through the.
It's on me. I think keep you going, right?
No, so for me, I need those stuff. I need it to be as diverse and do different things. And I said, if there was a biography written, if ever there was, there would be too pompous of me to write a biography, but I have a title for it.
What is it?
It's called No Rear View. No rear view. It's like the Italian cars where they have no rear view. They're always looking at what is ahead and not what behind them. So for me, I don't really care what I have done in the past. I want to know what I'm going to do tomorrow.
It's always, you can actually, and I think more than just look at tomorrow, I think your current defines your tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
What you're doing currently, that leads up
to what you want to do. If I don't spend too much time thinking about my past.
Let go of the past.
It's for others to experience. It's for other people to experience.
Mistakes have happened, just move on.
Who does it not happen to? It happens to everybody. So why am I special? I'm not special. But at least I got to do these things.
So on the work front, what's on the horizon for you now?
So on the work front, I said, what am I going to do for the next 20 years of my life? So exactly, we launched this new brand called Tamiska, which is that transition brand for capturing the essence of fashion from masstige brands like Zara and Mango and bringing it to the Indian.
And I think you're targeting a lot of the tier 2, tier 3.
Even tier 1, people, some of the people who have come to shop in tier 1 in the city have bought 15 pieces at one time.
Wow.
At one time, 15 pieces.
Wow.
My cousins came in from the US. Between them, they bought 10 outfits that they took with them.
Interesting.
So people are shopping. And the good thing is...
It's an online brand?
It's an online brand called Tamiska by Narendra Kumar. Tamiska.com, actually, it is. And we launched it last summer. Last summer, we launched it at Shoppers Stop, about 7 stores in Shoppers Stop. The sell-through for summer was 75%.
Wow.
Most of my industry friends and the senior people who learned, I said, it's impossible to do that kind of numbers for a new brand. Also with zero advertising.
Yes, I remember that.
Also with zero advertising.
You just built in a new category, right?
Wait, see, and interesting thing is when I took the brand to shoppers, they said, Nari, we don't know where to put your brand, your Western wear or ethnic wear, and you are doing something that is breaking the mold. So for me, I don't care about breaking the mold, but I can see that there is change happening. People are going more and more global. People are traveling. Globe is on your phone. You're seeing stuff from the world, and you want to be part of it. And to me, this brand tells that story, reflects that.
So how do you see the future of Indian fashion on the global stage now?
Over the last few years, there have been more and more Indian, like Rahul, and more designers showing abroad. You can see that progress happening. Aarti Vijay Gupta did it, Rahul Mishra has done it, Gaurav Gupta is doing it, Dhruv Kapoor is doing it, other people also are doing it. More people getting a global stage, great for fashion. But it's a good segmentation. We have 1,500 million people, huge market, many countries put together. The future is great. Okay. Future is great for clothing because everybody will need clothing. So, yeah. And as the globe becomes one, there will be kind of a sense of uniformity developing within all of across the globe.
Now I think with the years going in, you see the number of brands that are available, accessibility to brands in India or any part of the world. I think you get a whole lot of accessibility to clothes, the kind of clothes.
You can shop for any brand in the world right now on your phone. So you have access to all of that, and so it's no longer just a local thing.
This one interesting thing which I've noticed is how Koreans, their movies, have actually introduced a kind of fashion for them. And I found it very interesting for a country to do something like that.
So before that, there was a Japanese wave in the 80s when Yohji Yamamoto, Kenzo Takada, Issey Miyake, Rai Kawakubo, brought in a different culture.
Okay.
You know, if you see, a lot of Korean culture is Gen Z focused.
Absolutely. That was my
Right?
thing.
It was Gen Z focused. So they have brought in a culture for Gen Z, but instead of just streetwear, they have got a sense of sophistication.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they are kind of luxury of Gen Z style wise.
It's more stylish. Very, very stylish.
Exactly. A little more sophisticated, more grown up kind of stuff. So Korean fashion is doing that because Gen Z and late millennials, who all want to look like Gen Z, are adopting that kind of clothing, you know. So it's a wave that has come in from the East. There's a second way around that has come in. You know, there was the Japanese in the 80s, then early 90s, it was the Belgian 5 designers, Dries Van Noten, Ralph, I forget the names, and Minimus, and 5 of them, they created their own story. Now it's come back to, you know, streetwear, but a little better style. Sophistication to streetwear.
Okay. To conclude this whole thing, just give me one person you admire the most in your life. And
My mother. Because of her conviction, her sense of her knowledge, and always wanting to be in tune. Even today, she is on WhatsApp doing stuff, sending, sharing, communicating with the world. So when I grow up, I want to be like her. I mean, I don't know what else would make that cut for me. I've never been enamored by anybody or any goal or any kind of person. I've been enamored by personality types more than personalities.
people have made a difference.
People who have made a difference. Of course, I mean, there are authors that have made a difference, and I realize...
That's into the space of reading and literacy and all.
Yeah, and philosophy. I mean, we do all of that, and you know there are different people defining philosophies for every age kind of stuff. But I think the courage, the conviction, the empathy, and the wit with which my mother has carried herself over 90 years is fantastic. And she doesn't give up. So really, I can't think of anyone better than that.
Brilliant. I think kudos to her. Fabulous. Thank you. Thank you very much, Nari. Thank you for coming over, and thank you. What a fabulous conversation.
Thank you for listening.